Hello, this is Chris, and today I want to talk about something that I find is really important, especially in this day and age. But there's two very important takeaways that I'm going to have in this video, and I hope that you can understand and apply it to yourself, especially if you're a creative and you think that AI might be affecting your career, because unfortunately, I personally do think it is. AI is here and it's here to stay, and things have to be done, but there's two very, very important things that you need to understand. And the first thing is, do not underestimate the progress and power of technology. Technology is always going to advance, it's going to progress, and this is a good and sometimes not so great thing. Like, for example, I like having a faster phone, and I like having, more modern video games. I think moving past Pong was a great thing. But however, if technology can start to progress to a certain point where creatively it can start taking human jobs, that's when the technology becomes somewhat of a disruptor in the industry. So that's the first takeaway, is that do not underestimate the power of technology. Things are always going to get faster, things are always going to get better over time. That is just the nature of technology. As we've seen, we have examples of this. Look at your computer and your phone, they're getting faster, they're getting better. So that's the first takeaway. So the second takeaway that is very important that I want you to get from this video is, do not underestimate the greed from corporations in a capitalist society. So if a corporation or a company can save money by doing something, they will do it. They will do anything and everything possible to cut costs and save money. The only thing that is usually protecting people are unions, or maybe the company has some sort of ethical weight to some decisions, but I doubt that most of the time. If you look at the working conditions at fast food places and like Amazon warehouses and stuff like that, you can see that the labor is not appreciative in at least in North America and Canada and the US in particular, when it comes to treating workers properly and fairly, paying fair wages, and getting tons of important things such as benefits and all that stuff. So if corporations can save money, they will do it. Now, when we put AI into this equation, corporations will use AI to save money and cut costs. We've already seen this happening in the animation industry. I'm sure it's also happening in gaming and film as well, in certain degrees of levels. And new jobs are going to start appearing, which are going to be to tame and curate the AI and to clean up the AI. So what the idea is going to be with these corporations or these large entities is that they're going to see AI as a quick way to save money by cutting down labor costs and maybe hiring one person to clean up animations, for example, rather than having three animators and having AI do the rest of the work. Now, what I suspect and predict that is going to happen is that eventually they'll realize that, oh wait, maybe hiring humans is better, because at the end of the day, the output is going to have to be like the amount of cleanup that you're going to have to do when you have a solely AI based workflow, and the amount of like curation and the inaccuracies and the lack of detail and attention that you get from AI is not going to be worth it. But it's going to take some growing pains for companies to figure this out. However, if you remember my first point about how technology is getting better and more advanced, you combine that together, and now we have a very interesting situation where if the technology is getting good enough and the corporations can save costs, then the human that is making these creative pieces of work and creative stuff is now in trouble. Well, we had this come up in the union strikes when the writers in particular, it happened last year, and these strikes were about how AI was going to affect the writers' rooms in television, and they laid out certain things to protect the writers. However, we cannot underestimate the greed of corporations, and if they can lobby, if they can do whatever it takes to save money and to make shareholders happy, they will do it. And this is concerning across the boards. Now, I think the silver lining to all this is actually independent stuff is going to flourish, because independent works can be they're sized down. They don't have to make bean counters happy. They can make something creative, unique, which they've been doing for years. Honestly, like when it comes to video games, for example, I much prefer indie games, like small indie games, sometimes made by one person or a small studio. I absolutely adore these games much more than I haven't played a massive AAA since like I don't know. The last AAA game I beat was Dark Souls 3. I loved it. It was awesome. But even then, it's like I don't like massive AAA games. And I think at this moment, like indie games and indie films and smaller projects are flourishing now because people are getting a little tired of, 10 Marvel films and, 16 Star Wars and just the rehashing and remaking of existing IPs. Like, people are getting tired of that. And I'm going to tread lightly in the next statement I'm going to say is that these smaller teams can also integrate AI to make their works easier as well, because they don't have the funds to hire as many people. And this is the whole thing about, AI technology is that it is a tool. It's not the replacement tool that we can just swap out tons and tons of people, but it can be used as a tool in certain regards. Like one example could be if you're just coming up with ideas for a universe and you need, 25 character names that are part of a faction, you can just get AI to generate that, sure. But to have a cohesive story and to have an output that has a clear vision and that is cohesive and follows certain rules of storytelling and all that stuff, I think at this moment you still need a human to do that. But if you need, a soap brand name and you can't think of one, you can get, AI to do that. This is some things that AI is beneficial for. But to completely replace humans, I think over time we will see the result of that. I think it's going to be a lot of like AI curation that's going to be happening. Unfortunately, I wish we could live in a world where corporations don't have to be so goddamn greedy and they could see that AI is a tool instead of a replacement, a complete 100% replacement of everyone across the board. So this is a video that I've had brewing in my head for a while. Again, I don't have a script, so I apologize for it not being cohesive. But I think that my points are hopefully given across to you watching right now. And if you're concerned about potentially losing your job to AI, the best thing I can say to you is probably learn where it's going, what it's about, and how you can be better. And show employers and show people that maybe the cleanup crew that is needed to make AI for a subpar project is not worth the economic spending of just hiring competent people, and maybe they can do it in a different time frame and different like scope and all that stuff. So it's like proving the human element to your creative position is ideal. Now, there's a whole other conversation when it comes to AI taking over non-creative positions, but for me as someone with a creative background, and I feel like I'm more comfortable talking about the topics of AI's integration into the creative world rather than the non-creative world. So maybe I'll leave that discussion to someone else. But at this moment, I am thinking that I feel really bad for animators, extremely. I wish that the animation industry could be more unionized and could have stronger benefits for the workers. I know that there might have been a lot of hires, like maybe to like a point where they were overhiring during COVID, but and now they're firing and downsizing. Like that is definitely a factor as well. But the lack of rights in the animation industry is huge, and also we see the abuse that's happening in the gaming industry all the time when it comes to like overworking and lack of unions and lack of protections. Like we don't see as many protections in the gaming industry as we do see in the television industry, especially on unionized production, not non-union productions, because those non-union shows and films are not very protected at all, and that's a whole other kettle of fish. But I'm talking specifically about the bigger budgets, the union stuff. So If you guys are still watching, I appreciate it. I have some more Expanse content brewing in the future. I know this video isn't quite Expanse content, not quite gaming content. I actually made a separate channel that I'm gonna house all my gaming content, and it's really close to monetization. So if you want to check that out, it's Chris the Game Dev. And this channel is going to be dedicated more for talks like this and, of course, Expanse material. I have big videos brewing. It's just that I'm really deep into game development right now, and I'm working on these new videos slowly, and they will come out eventually. Yeah, and I hope you guys found this video interesting, and I hope you apply my 2 takeaways to your life, which is don't underestimate the greed of corporations, and technology is going to advance fast, and it's going to get better every single day. So if you understand those 2 takeaways, you can apply it to your life, and let's try to show employers and corporations the power of the human brain, the human mind, and how it's very complex, and AI is yet to reproduce the complexities of the human brain. All right, so thanks for watching. Peace.